In this video, I'll be covering the CHEQ Developer Tools browser plugin, which provides a variety of useful tools for monitoring, debugging, and testing tags, inspecting an enforcement gateway, and more. This plugin is primarily beneficial for users and sites that are already familiar with the tag management, privacy enforcement, or server-side tagging products. If you haven't gotten to those topics yet, it's a good idea to stop here and review the materials available for whichever product you were hoping to use the Developer Tools plugin for. Let's start with how to download the plugin. You can find links to download the plugin for Chrome, Firefox, and Edge on the dashboard screen of your Manage account after you've logged in. Once installed, you should be able to locate the plugin in the standard plugins or extension area of your browser. The interface has a few different forms depending on which product you're working with. We'll start with the Bootstrap and tags, as that knowledge will be useful for the other two to be covered later. As you'll hopefully recall from our TMS overview, tags are created in the Manage product and are served to your page primarily based on what space and condition configurations you've applied. Space and Publish path are the sections of Manage where you're creating and modifying bootstraps, which is the first section of the plugin that I'll walk you through. The Bootstrap Manager section has two interfaces, one with quick options, and another with those two quick selections and some more custom choices as well. The purpose of the Bootstrap Manager utility is to allow you to quickly rewrite one bootstrap to another, or to block a bootstrap from loading on your browser. If you're returning to these videos or the plugin after some time, you may notice that there used to be a third option, which was injecting a bootstrap onto a page. Bootstrap injection was removed in later versions in accordance with new requirements from the browser. We'll start with the blocking option. Blocking a bootstrap has a limited but powerful use case. It helps you very quickly determine if a problem on the page is being caused by the bootstrap or any tags that it may bring with it. For example, you've been assigned a ticket that states the login button is no longer functional, and we believe a change in the tag manager may be the cause. A great place to start is blocking the bootstrap, because if that login button is still broken with the bootstrap blocked, you know that you can send the ticket back as it's not related to the bootstrap or any tags. Rewriting the bootstrap can serve many purposes. You can rewrite to the testing state, which corresponds to the commit stage of the publish cycle, in order to locally test a change before it would go live while remaining in the environment it will go live to. You could change a bootstrap path from prod to stage in order to determine if an issue happening in the QA environment would also happen in production. And in more advanced scenarios, we can open up the custom options interface. Here, you can make more granular changes and override different portions of the bootstrap file path. Perhaps you have multiple accounts and want to test if a solution that worked for one part of your business will do the same for another, and so you want to load that bootstrap of an entirely separate website to replace your own. All of this can be accomplished with the Bootstrap Manager. Building upon the Bootstrap features, we have the Visual Tagger tool, which works with bootstraps and tags. This is less about changing what's happening on your page and instead provides much more detail about what's going on with the tagging that the Bootstrap produces. Visual Tagger does require a login to your account so that it can connect the data on the page with what was produced by the account configuration. Visual Tagger monitors the page to detect what tags, conditions, events, and data definitions are being used. It can detect errors, signal successful tag execution or failure, and help you locate problems. This is a great tool for quick looks at what tagging is happening on the page and whether it's working without diving into the TMS or the JavaScript. Visual Tagger is not so granular that you can use it for things like data validation and should not replace proper QA that inspects not only that the tag is working, but that it is sending the correct data and has not impacted any other site features or capabilities. Next, we'll cover the plugin features that work with the Enforce product. The Enforce tools can assist you with auditing a site to determine if there are any compliance issues, and it can inspect an existing Enforce implementation to see what sort of data is passing through the gateway and if any actions have been taken. The Audit tool provides an overview of data passing through a site and flags the domains it sees if they are potentially dangerous. Once the plugin has monitored a page loading, it can provide a chart showcasing not only what domains and vendors are loading on the site, but who brought them to the page. This is a great place to locate piggyback tags being added to your site without your knowledge, even if they were from an approved vendor. The audit tool also displays the current cookie state on the page for easy review, as well as a list of warnings it discovered while monitoring the page. These warnings aren't explicit compliance violations, nor security flaws, as the tool can't know what you have or have not approved in terms of vendors being allowed to fire and what data they should or should not carry. Instead, it calls out that something it saw has the potential to be a compliance issue or bad actor on the site, and could be worth reviewing. The inspector tool is more detailed, but only works on existing Enforce implementations. It requires that you have a login for the account associated with the gateway on the page you're inspecting so that it can pair the data it's seeing on the page with the configuration you've built in the platform. Once logged in, you will likely be prompted to refresh the page, and then you'll get a view of the requests that the gateway has checked and what happened to them. You can also find a readout of the selected config, as well as a visual representation of which pieces of the experience you've seen and what your current consent settings are. This tool is great for a clear visual of what Enforce is doing on the page. There is more data available to you in the JavaScript layer, but that's easier to discuss in a deep dive of the Enforce product. The final section of the Developer Tools plugin is dedicated to server-side tagging. This feature requires a bit of planning to use, but can be a handy connection between the server-side beacons on the page and what sort of tagging happened on the server because of them. Here we can see that the page did correctly generate a server-side beacon. Sometimes the processing between the plugin and the backend can take some time, so you may not get the details you see here in the demonstration. However, once connected, you can see what tags were fired and which events were sent to the server. This is a more compact view than you would get in the actual server tag console, and we do advise that you use that interface for proper inspection for server-side tagging. This wraps up our tour of the Developer Tools browser plugin. If you're looking for more information about a specific feature, check out our Help Center or contact your account manager.